And welcome to day 48 of the Atlantic hurricane season, day number 66 in the Eastern Pacific. It's July the 18th. Currently, as of midnight UTC, there are 3 systems active in the Western Pacific. That's the only place where we've got active systems at the moment. Tropical Storm Cimaron, which is currently with wind speeds of 45 miles per hour, and 2 Invest, 94W and 95W, both in the Western Pacific. 94W, first of all, in the South China Sea, and that may form in the next few days, and Invest 95W, which is basically just a few clouds with a swirl around it, and that's currently moving generally towards the southwest and probably will fizzle out very shortly indeed. Tropical Storm Simeron obviously is still going and causing heavy rains over Taiwan at the moment, and will make landfall in China in about 12 to 24 hours from now. Looking at the Atlantic Ocean, this is the latest satellite imagery from a few hours ago now. Not much going on though in the Atlantic at the moment. You can see a few little bits and pieces here and there, but nothing that poses a real threat of development over the next few days. Looking at the Indian Ocean, very much the same as well. Obviously we don't really get activity in the North Indian Ocean around this time of year. Usually we get 2 peaks, one early on in the year and another towards the end of the year, but at the moment things looking very quiet there at the moment. Looking at the sea surface temperatures then, the Eastern Pacific, especially near the coasts of Mexico and El Salvador and Guatemala as well, warm temperatures here, around 30 degrees generally along the coasts. The northwestern Gulf of Mexico staying the warmest point of the Atlantic, around 29 degrees here. And in the Pacific, warm waters remaining here as well, especially where Simeron is at the moment near the Philippines, around 29 degrees. Out at sea, temperatures of 30 degrees or more as well for any future storms that may form in the Western Pacific, certainly warm enough for development. Tropical Storm Simeron, then the Philippine name Isang, their current wind speeds 45 miles per hour. Pressures 993 millibars, position 21.5 degrees north, 118.1 east, and is expected to move northwest into China as a tropical storm. Blue typhoon warning is currently in effect for the coast of China. That's the lowest warning for the Chinese coast, the lowest severity warning, and heavy rain warnings in effect for Taiwan, heaviest in the south and the east at the moment. More information on that on the website. The warnings have been lifted in the Philippines. We had signal 1 warnings, but all warnings are now discontinued in the Philippines, and this is how the storm's been doing in the past 24 hours. You can see it moving towards the northwest, the centre of it becoming a little bit less clear, but it is still moving towards the northwest. The core moving over the Philippines about 24 hours ago now, and heading off towards China. And most of the main storm activity is on the east side of the storm, so that's obviously not very good news for Taiwan, because the storm's moving right past that towards the west of Taiwan at the moment. So that's why there's lots of heavy rain warnings in effect, mainly for the southern half of Taiwan and along the eastern coast as well. So that's where we're going to probably see the heaviest of the rains in Taiwan. And obviously after Soulik not too long ago, it could cause some flooding there, and same too for China as well. Invest 94W, you can see here the coast of Vietnam off to the left there, and doesn't seem to be organising particularly at the moment, but it does have a little bit of potential for development over the next few days. A low chance at the moment, but we'll see what happens with this one. It's one to keep an eye on out for anyway. The models are currently developing it, though not as rigorously as they did previously. But more on that in a moment. The CMC model for the Atlantic and East Pacific, then you can see a storm forming in the Eastern Pacific towards the end of that run, supporting the CMWF's theory that it's been having for a few days now, moving well out to sea, basically staying on the same latitude as well. The CMWF model is staying true to its prediction as well, with that storm forming in the Eastern Pacific and then moving slightly more towards the north than the CMC predicts, possibly as a hurricane as well in the Eastern Pacific. You can see no activity in the Atlantic either, high pressure dominating in that region for the model runs at the moment. The GFS model is also on board with a storm forming in the Eastern Pacific, first of all moving towards the west and then curving towards the northwest towards the end of that run there. The NavGem model I think is a little less clear, probably perhaps a little bit of a weak system forming in the Eastern Pacific, probably nothing more than that according to the NavGem model, but we'll see how that one pans out. The CMC for the Western Pacific then has a storm moving into China to the west of Hong Kong and Macau there. I think I saw one. Yes, that's probably the result of 94W, the current storm Simeron moving into China very quickly there according to the GFS, to the CMC model. The GFS fairly similar as well, and actually predicts 94W to be a very weak system. Both of them do, as a matter of fact. Which is quite different to what it had last time when it had quite a significant storm moving into the island of Hainan. Looking at the overall predicted season scores then, July the 18th. A lot of scores have gone down, only a few have gone up with the formation of Simeron, the 7th storm of the Western Pacific typhoon season. Ken remains in first with 75 points, Typhoon Belper in second with 67, and William in third place with 67 points. That's the top three at the moment. I think we passed 150 predictions, which is a very good news. And you can submit your own storm totals with the 153rd at the website force13.com/interactive. Just click the 2013 Predictor Season button and submit your totals, and it'll be up on the leaderboard in due course as soon as I can be bothered, to be honest. But when a new storm comes up, I'll definitely have it there on that same day. So what happened on this day then? On July the 18th in 1980, Tropical Storm Frank, that one's pictured, formed in the open Eastern Pacific Ocean. In 1985, Tropical Storm Hilda formed in the Eastern Pacific as well. That one's pictured there just off the Baja California Peninsula. In 1996, Typhoon Eve made its landfall in Japan as a Category 4 storm, weakening from a Category 5 super typhoon. And in 1997, Tropical Storm, Rosie, formed in the Western Pacific, I believe that was. 2002, Typhoon Fengshan peaked as a Category 5 storm as well, and remained a super typhoon for a record 5 days. In total, in 2005, Hurricane Emily made landfall on the Yucatan Peninsula as a Category 4 storm. That's pictured there just after it left the Yucatan Peninsula into the Gulf of Mexico. And in 2005 as well, Tropical Storm Eugene formed in the Eastern Pacific. Also that same day, Hainan made landfall in Taiwan as a Category 3 storm, causing 13 fatalities and $1.1 billion of damages. In 2006, Tropical Storm Belle formed in the Atlantic. In 2011, Tropical Storm Dora formed in the Eastern Pacific. And in 2012, Tropical Storm Hainan made landfall in South Korea with 89 fatalities and $12 million of damages. Vicenta formed in the Western Pacific as well, and Hurricane Fabio dissipated in the Eastern Pacific. And don't forget, you can track Simeron and any other storms that form between the next bulletin on the website force13.com/storm tracking. That's the main page for the storm tracking information, which shows you the overview map of where the storms are currently located at a glance, as well as the tables at the top and bottom which show their intensities and any warnings that are currently in effect at a glance. And then you can go more in depth, basin by basin, to see which what the tracking maps show where the storms are headed towards, and any more information about the storm itself and any warnings that are currently in effect in more detail. Obviously that's fairly important with Simeron currently moving past Taiwan and China at the moment, so warnings are quite important at this stage where the heaviest of the rain will fall. And also you can visit the social pages as well, YouTube, Facebook and Twitter. We're on all three of those. Just search Force 13, you should find it fairly easily enough. And do please show your support by liking, commenting, subscribing, favouriting or anything else to do with the videos, or indeed any other things that I post up. I do appreciate every positive remark that is made, honest. If you have any questions, just send it in on the comments page, or indeed by private message, and I'll get back to you in due course if it is tropical weather related. The next bulletin will be coming up, bulletin number 45. That will be on early hours of July 19th around midnight UTC. That's Friday morning, and probably an update in between during the day on Tropical Storm Cimaron in the Western Pacific around maybe 3 or 4 p.m. UTC. But that's all for now.